Yo, guys, what is up? DOZ 101 here with a special guest, Alvin
Alvin
Man
Man
1.
one.
For those of you that don't know who he is, he's a guy, he'll rarely do videos, but he only makes them when he's got something that he wants to talk about, which this day and age, he doesn't really, tries to keep tabs on the WWE, but it's tough to do. As far as TNA, fuck TNA. You all know how we feel about that. You got anything to add you want before we start this?
It's sad that Ric Flair thinks he's God, but the
uh,
Beatles are still bigger than Jesus.
Yeah. Anything about TNA in particular you'd like to add before we start?
I thought they would be more interesting,
Yeah. They
but they kind of suck.
they turned out to be the whole NWO rehashing storyline. Just great.
Sort of.
Uh anyway, this commentary that we're gonna do, it's gonna be about a what if scenario. We're gonna ask each other like what if questions. And he started off with a good one.
What if at WrestleMania 18 Stone Cold had faced Hulk Hogan?
If Stone Cold would have faced Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania, I could say that it would have been the biggest WrestleMania to date. And Austin clearly would have won, and Hulkamania would have truly been surpassed by a star bigger than him, in my opinion. All
I think
right,
a lot of people would say that that did happen with The Rock.
yeah.
Mm.
What if Bret Hart never got screwed in 1997 and decided to stay with the WWF?
Well, had he decided to stay with the WWF, I don't know how much longer he would have lasted anyway. I mean, at that point, he was already starting to get a little old. Given he had a few good matches in WCW, but I think if he hadn't got screwed over, he still would have taken the belt and he would have left. But I don't think he would have, I don't think he would have brought it out on WCW or anything. Not like Ric Flair did back in 92, 93 when he came over to WWF. I'm sorry, WWE. Um, but I don't know. Maybe you would have. They would have kept going with the new Hart Foundation thing with Hart and Pillman and Owen and Anvil.
I think had he not got screwed in '97, he would have dropped the belt to Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 14. Austin 316 was bound to happen anyway, and if it would have been Shawn Michaels, yeah. If it would have been Bret Hart, yeah. Stone Cold would have came in and been the most popular motherfucker at the time.
I think as far as that, yeah, Stone Cold would have been the champ regardless of which one of them it was. I think it kind of worked out better that it was Shawn Michaels just because. No, well, I'm a Shawn Michaels fan. What can I say?
Yeah. All right.
What if Owen Hart hadn't died when he did?
If Owen Hart had not passed away when he did earlier in '99, fuck you, Vince Russo, and company for making him go through with the stunt. And I know Owen Hart was scared to lose his spot and all that kind of stuff, but you didn't have to resort to putting him with that stupid blue blazer gimmick just because it was the Attitude Era. I think personally, had Owen Hart not passed away, he would have been in the role that Triple H is in now. He would have been the guy to win the title probably about a good. He wouldn't have won it as many times as Triple H. He would have won it like 5 times, 6 times, like his brother Brett, and he would have retired in the year 2000 to go spend time with his family. That's what I think would have happened. Um, what if Shawn Michaels not retire after WrestleMania 14?
Well, he didn't. He came back 4 years
No,
later.
but I mean, like, how he retired in 1998. What if he not retired the first time?
Well, I mean that would have been interesting, especially for DX, because when he did, Triple H took over as the leader of DX, and it went for a while, but it wasn't exactly the same thing. I think it would have been a longer run for DX there, and maybe um, we wouldn't have seen quite as interesting a comeback for DX as we did in the past years, for both comebacks, for that matter.
All right.
Um, hmm.
Well, what are you thinking? I've got another one for you. What if Austin not turned heel at WrestleMania 17 and joined up with McMahon?
That would have been fantastic. He signed a deal with the devil. But then again, Austin's heel turn was actually a pretty good move. He did a good job with it. But I think that if he hadn't, then you may have seen some sort of a Rock and Austin tag team Maybe even it might have been short lived, but it might have been where Stone Cold would have, Vince would have come out and it would have been like Stone Cold was gonna change, go heel, and then Stone Cold doesn't. He drops Vince,
It would have been The Rock, I think.
or The Rock might have dropped Vince. Either way.
No, The Rock would have gone heel, I think.
Oh,
I think.
yeah. Well, then The Rock probably would have gone heel. Yeah.
I think what they should have done was had Stone Cold Steve Austin not turn. It should have been The Rock. I mean, let's face it. It's
The Rock
debatable.
was already the corporate champion at one point.
And I think Rock is a better heel than Stone Cold Steve Austin is, in my opinion. Austin's more of the psychotic kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What if Santino Marella was the WWE champion?
Then Raw would be probably best known as WWE Hollywood more than ever. Raw would no longer really be a credible show. It would be more Saturday Night Live comedy hour.
But come on, after Santino called Sheamus lame ass, Santino is God.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry, Rick.
What if the Attitude Era never existed?
Whew. That's hard to imagine.
And let me add in, let me also add in this part question, what if ECW never came around, and what if Hulk Hogan never turned heel and created the NWO with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash?
Well, I think that if the WWE had never gone into the Attitude Era, and if Hogan had never turned heel and never created the NWO, WCW might have actually had a chance of winning out in the long run. But as it was, they made some really bad choices. Vince Russo, Kevin Nash, and Vince ended up winning the Monday Night War.
As far as ECW never existing.
As far as ECW never existing, I think if ECW had never existed, there may not have been an Attitude Era, because I think a lot of what they were doing in the ECW, with the being the land of extreme, a lot of the hardcore that they did really helped to create the Attitude Era, because there was a lot of that kind of hardcore matches and those kind of things that
the Jerry Springer crowd, so to speak.
Yes, exactly. But yeah. What if Vince McMahon had never outed himself as the owner of the company and just stayed behind the scenes as a sort of announcer or something like that?
I don't really know if that would have been possible, because Vince, it was stemming that they were going to end up turning him heel anyway. You could already kind of see it with the whole Vince and Brett thing, and Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold Steve Austin basically all saying, fuck you, we're going to do what we want to do kind of mentality that went back to the Jerry Springer crowd. So who better to have as the top heel and one of the greatest heels, and in my opinion, the greatest corporate heel of all time, Vince McMahon, play that big bad guy. Vince was an awesome character. I don't think he's as awesome and as relevant as he is today, but for back then, for the 90s and the 2000s, and the Jerry Springer, screw you, I don't give a damn what you want crowd, Vince filled that role really, really well. I can put Vince over. All right. What if John Cena was never the top babyface of the company?
Boy, wouldn't that be wonderful? Hard to say. I mean, they have a lot of good talent. I have to think that as good a heel as Jericho is, and as good a heel as Edge is, one of those guys would have probably ended up in that top babyface role, or maybe Randy Orton. I don't know. That's hard to say. I wish I had an idea of what that would be like, though.
Yeah. A man can dream, can he?
Yeah. What if there never was a Monday Night Raw?
What if there was never a Monday Night Raw? You mean period?
Yeah,
or
what if Monday
now?
Night Raw never existed?
Wrestling wouldn't exist. The WWE wouldn't exist. Let's put it that way.
That's probably true.
Yep. The WWE. And here's the deal, guys. Going into what we're going to say real quick before we wrap this up, I'm sure we got a couple more questions, but here's the deal. We were watching what Good Mike Work said, and the thing is, wrestling is fucking gay now. Wrestling doesn't really work anymore. Wrestling doesn't fit now. It's like when you look at TNA, I almost want to ask myself, what if TNA never brought in Hogan and Flair?
Fuck Hogan. Excuse me.
Well, you can say it. I don't really care about what these marks got to say about Hogan, so go ahead.
Fuck Hogan.
Yeah. Fuck Hulk Hogan. I mean,
he had his day. Now he's like, what, 500? 600?
Yeah. I don't know about Ric Flair either. I mean, Ric Flair, he's about to go have a stroke in the ring telling all his 5 ex-wives to go kiss his ass. On Impact, you should have seen the promo. He still believes
that he's gone, like I said before.
Yeah. It's just like, wrestling to us, this is why you guys haven't seen this guy make a video in a long time. Wrestling is fucking frustrating now. It really is. The writing is bad. The pay-per-view buy rates are bad. The lack of creativity is not there in wrestling in general. Ring of Honor, I've seen some of what they can do, I admit, but I'm not too totally crazy like all the marks here are about Ring of Honor. But that's just my opinion. Sorry, guys.
I've never seen Ring of Honor, but I've noticed a few things like Paul Bearer came back, and I always thought Paul Bearer was a pretty cool manager, but he was kind of gone, and you could kind of see it coming from a mile away. The way that
they were
doing Taker with, he didn't have his so-called powers anymore.
And then Bearer came back, and then at Hell in a Cell, he's like, "No, you need me in there with you." Why? So you can turn on him? Oh, is he going to shut the door? Is he really going to turn on him? Yes, he is. He turned on him. And now bragging rights is tomorrow. No one gives a shit.
I'd be interested to see the Buried Alive match, but just because I like The Undertaker.
Yeah, it's just like, this Undertaker Kane thing, it's good, but it's recycled at the same time.
Woo, 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 you know it.
Fuck Zack Ryder. Okay, we got a time for a couple more what-if questions. What if Goldberg was never the man?
I think that would have left a huge hole for WCW. They would have probably had someone else try to step up to become that man, but yeah, it's hard to put anybody else in that spot because, like, if they had tried to put Sting in that spot, for instance, people have already seen Sting get beat. They know that Sting's not unbeatable. And it would have just been stupid to have him be this unbeatable, undefeatable guy. It wouldn't work. And there really aren't a whole lot of other people that I can think of that would have worked for that role.
Okay.
With regards to Goldberg, what if he hadn't got screwed over at Starrcade? What if the streak had gone on?
Had the streak gone on, here's how I would have wanted to see it go. He should have lost to Hogan a year to the day. Because I don't know how many of you guys like the Full Circle paraphernalia thing, but I think it would have been kind of awesome. And it's debatable to say who would end the streak. Bret Hart probably wouldn't really do it. Booker T probably wouldn't do it. Sting couldn't do it. Who else could do it? Hogan as a face. Well, Giant can't do it. Giant couldn't do it. But Hogan as a face could end Goldberg, I really think.
Shawn Michaels could have, but that's beside the point.
Had he gone to WCW. All right. And let me see. I'm trying to think of one real good question here. What if Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit were still here?
You said that name.
Yes, I did.
They don't want you to say that name.
Yeah.
Well, I think it would be interesting. I think that you would have just that much deeper, a sort of field of characters, if you will. You'd have that many more options for guys to go into the title picture.
Got like 25 seconds.
Do I think that Benoit would be in the title picture right now? No, probably not. I mean, he might be vying for like the U.S. title or something. Eddie would probably be somewhere in the picture. You know, he might be on SmackDown.
Yep.
doing something to do with Rey Mysterio or something like that, or maybe he would have ended up in a feud with CM Punk after the whole Rey Mysterio thing.
All right, guys, and we got to wrap this up. DOZ.
Alpha Man 1.
Peace.